Good morning, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to present the 155th weekly webinar of AABN. AABN team successfully achieved the 150th webinar on the 10th of December 2023. This represents a major milestone in the evolution of AABN. A milestone webinar was carried out in real pomp and style by the avid members of AABN and our esteemed guests who spared the time to grace the occasion. We are now moving forward with optimism and an enhanced vision to create extraordinary value for entrepreneurs through enduring experiences for our guests, partners, and alumni, supported by our value of integrity, agility, efficiency, collaboration, sustainable development, and respect for entrepreneurial community. On behalf of my colleagues on the core committee, I extend my sincere gratitude for the continued support of all the stakeholders. Let us extend a very warm welcome to our eminent speaker, Mr. Palaneeswar Rajarathinam, founder and CEO, JP Biotech, to this interactive business networking session. Climate change reduces agriculture productivity and leads to greater instability in crop production, disrupting the global food supply and resulting in food and nutritional insecurity. A transformation of the agricultural sector towards climate resilient practices is urgently needed to successfully tackle food security and climate change challenges. Climate smart agriculture is an approach that guides farmers' actions to transform agri-food systems towards building the agriculture sector's resilience to climate change. Promoting the adoption of a climate smart agriculture practice is crucial to improve smallholder farmers' capacity to adapt to climate changes and mitigate its impact, as well as help achieve the sustainable development goals. Although smallholder farmers worldwide have adopted numerous practices and technologies to reach the objectives of climate smart agriculture, the increased uncertainty that climate change imposes calls for more flexible and rapid response capacity in smallholder farming systems. In today's webinar, Mr. Palaneeswar Rajarathinam will help us to enrich our understanding of the climate smart agriculture and sustainable agriculture development. He will provide his insights on climate smart sustainable farming system for climate smart food. Let us put our hands together to welcome our eminent guest speaker to this interactive session. Mr. Palaneeswar Rajarathinam has a master's degree in agriculture from the Tamil Nadu Agriculture University, Coimbatore. He is the founder CEO at JP Biotech, Virudunagar, Tamil Nadu. His interest is energy smart sustainable farming system utilizing associated agriculture biodiversity for safe and sustainable food production. He feels that many key components in the biodiversity for food and agriculture are in the decline. Intensive fossil fuel, exhaustive chemical dependent farming has contributed to decline of biodiversity. Associated biodiversity provides the key ecosystem service and greater scope for future sustainable and safe food production. His journey so far: JP Biotech started in 1992, involved in production, vermicompost, biofertilizer, and biocontrol agents. JP Farm started in 1994, integrated climate smart dryland farming, and IPM red chili, good pig. JP Farm Seeds started in 2000, seeds agrochemical and farms inputs retailing. JP Agro Clinic started in 2008, farm consultancy, micronutrient mixture manufacturer, and mini STL. JP Sustainability Foundation started in 2019, non-profit company involved in skill development, agri-entrepreneurship guidance through a program Catalyst. Virudunagar Kanni Goat Private Limited started in 2021, farm to meat startup. Recognition and responsibility, National Entrepreneur Award for Excellence, MSME Government of India, Chile Export Committee member, Spices Board Government of India, Director MABF, NABARD, Tamil Nadu Agriculture, Tamil Nadu Madurai Agri Business Incubation Forum,
कॉल
Advisor,
कीजिएगा बिट्टू को।
Reliance Foundation,
पकड़ी कीजिएगा।
EC member, TNAU Alumni Association, Best Industrial Achiever Award by JCI, Achiever Award by Virudunagar Chamber of Commerce, Best Agripreneur Tamil Nadu Farm Graduates Forum. Institution membership, CII, Vinitsia, TNAU, and Rotary Club. Public media coverage of professional activities, Doordarshan Agriculture Program, Podige Channel, Ponvilagum Bhumi, 5/4/2016. Spice India Magazine, Tamil Nadu Chili Farms on Traceability Track, Spice India, Volume 27. Documentary video, Tamil Nadu Agriculture University, Agri-Business Development and MSME, Government of India, Incubation Project on Food Traceability. With this diverse background, I'm sure today's gathering feels special because of his participation. And dear friends, entrepreneurs, I hope you enjoy the program and find it useful. Have a nice time. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Palaneeswar.
Thank you, Mr. Gobi. Thank you, Mr. Gobi, for introducing me. It gives me an immense pleasure to interact with some other professionals from. Am I able to? Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
So my video is streaming now?
Yes, very much.
So my screen is also being shared. I'm sharing my screen. Is my screen shared?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I thank Mr. Gopi for giving an excellent introduction about me and what we were doing for the past 32 years. And it's a wonderful pleasure for me to participate in one of the distinguished forum. I went through some of your videos, and I think that I'm participating in one of the diversified personalities. This presentation is going to be among the diversified personalities who are all from various professions. I think most of them are engineers, and some maybe of IT, some are from economics. And my reference, I think I was referred by some of your own alumni from agriculture background. So I must thank your all your alumni. And alleviate the stress among the farmers, because India being mostly of farming nation, most of the our livelihoods are dependent on rural area. So we all have a responsibility to share our wisdom and whatever thing that we can extend our support to the farming community, so that they come over the stress that is being imposed on them due to climate change. Even though it's not their fault, they are they are taking the most of the burns. So I just wanted to have this session as an interactive session, so that I will get more inputs from the people who are participating in this forum, and they can give more solution that we as an agriculture space And we agriculturist professionals may not have what I would say, some of the ideas or information that most of the people you may possess. What we see as a problem can be addressed by the skills of the people who are participating here. So this may be a this should be what I suggest. This should be more of interaction so that we can understand how best our farming can be elevated to the platform. So introduced about me, though he has already given an introduction. I did my post-graduation in Tamil Nadu Agriculture University way back in 1992, and I started my own venture. Even before I'm submitting my thesis, I started my own biotech unit. So way back in 92, there was a much more interest among the youngsters on biotechnology. So since I specialized in agriculture microbiology, I started my own venture, and it was only my family that was initially supporting throughout my venture. And I'm not a farmer. Basically I'm not a farmer. I just became a farmer. Now I'm farming in more than 30 acres of land. I became a farmer just because I got education into this thing, and I just wanted to showcase what we can achieve through farming. So at present, we have a 3 farm retailing service center spread across Virudhunagar, Ramnath district, and we are covering nearly around 10,000 acres under diverse cropping pattern, from paddy, millets, from cotton, and spices and fruit crops, and all these things we are all my farm clients, and I'm serving them. And nearly since India is mostly family farms, we have networked around 2,000 family farms are covered in our 2 years of journey. So what we practically do is that when we talk about climate smart farming, these are all the activities that I just wanted to emphasize how we do in climate smart farming. So these are all the activities that we carry over in our unit. We do the soil fertility analysis, irrigation, water analysis, then we do vermicomposting, biofertilizer production. These are all things that happens in our unit under JP Farm. This JP Farm is located in Kullu Sandai. You can Google the place and find it out where this Kullu Sandai is located near Virudhunagar, and you can Google the place as a JP Biotechs. It will show. Why I just wanted to look into Google Map is that once you look into the Google Maps, you can understand what this session is going to be, because the region that my farm is located is in a very backward district. It's an aspirational district, and it has mostly a dryland. Here, farmers are practicing mostly a dryland agriculture. So it means that they have a one season, mostly they can crop only for one season, and with that one season crop they have to run their entire year life. So whatever the revenue that they get it from that the area that they have the possibility to go maximum for one acre for one crop. From with that, they are leading their own life. So this is the area which is more in case of India. Whenever you see India, these types of lands of this type of acreage is spread across India, where you find dryland agriculture is dominant. And the farmers who are in these regions have limited opportunities just because they don't have a free-powered, electricity-driven water supply, so that they can carry on 2 or 3 crops, so that they can look after their lifestyle. So so if you look into the Google Map, you can see, if you can see a picture of where we are located and see adjacent farms that is located near our thing, you can understand why the climate smart farming is can make a great change among the farmers' livelihood and also generate a rural economy. These are all the So these are all the input that we manufacture in this form. Most of the input that we manufacture are based on biodiversity. What it was already told. Biodiversity means that we are dependent on other life forms in this part of land. So since it is a dry land agriculture, so we are much more dependent on the life forms. So what here we do is that since I'm a microbiologist, I'm concentrating on some of the is utilizing a tremendous amount of fossil fuel, you see. But the same functions of fixing the nitrogen into soil can be done by some of the microbes. So just like that, there are a number of microbes that has some of the role that can replace the chemicals, or those microbes can replace the fossil fuel utilization. So you all know that the fossil fuel is impacting globally and is causing hardship to each and every citizen, irrespective of whether wherever they are placed. Actually, we may be utilizing the energy at one system, at one place, or at one part of the region. But the output, the pollution or carbon dioxide that is emitted is becoming ubiquitous. So even if it is, even if the urea plants are located at Tuticorin or some other far-off places in coastal regions of India, the pollution it releases on utilizing the fossil fuel or a coal burning, the energy and all these things is spread over all over in our heads. So what we see as a pollution is circulating in and around our head. What we see as a pollution is not the pollution. The pollution that we find is that that is circulating each and everyone's above head. So that is the real pollution. So that is the carbon dioxide that is causing a huge challenge. So what we do is that utilizing some of the biological catalyst or technology so that we can avoid the fossil fuel dependence and utilize the biological energy system for doing the same purpose, for catering the same purpose. So we are producing nearly about 100 products. So another one is that other than microbes, we're also into producing vermicompost. This is also one of the biodiversity that has a huge role in creating a circular economy and also in carbon sequestration. So we are focusing on this earthworm, and since we have started this my commercial venture, so this is the amount of carbon dioxide that we have already 44,000 ton carbon dioxide equivalent we have done. Is equivalent to something around 7 lakh tree seedlings that is grown for 10 years. That is the amount of action that has happened in our farm for the past 25 years. And we have provided nearly around 4,50,000 human hour employment. So these are all possible because we are circulating the waste that is generated in the farms and we are taking it and taking it to a farm, and they were utilizing earthworms and to compost it, and then taking back this compost into our farmers' farmland. And then we are increasing, once you put up this vermicompost in a farmland, you are increasing the carbon content of the soil. So what actually happens here is that one time we are, by burning the fossil fuel, we are pumping out the carbon dioxide into atmosphere. The pumped out carbon dioxide is being sequestered by the photosynthesis process using a Rubisco enzyme by the plant system. Once the plant system fixes the carbon, this carbon has to get into the soil so that the whatever that is being released from coal gets back into the soil and stays put up there. One of the problems with the fields now we have is that limited the carbon content is being very lower, that we'll see in the later how we are addressing all this thing. So these are all the way that we are intervening with smallhold farmers. So far we had supplied more than 3,000 2,000 to 3,000 units we have delivered to the small farmers, so they can able to recycle the farm waste and utilize it for their own manure requirement, thereby reducing the dependence on urea fertilizer or chemical fertilizer, and thereby reducing the emissions. So taking into all these things, microbes, earthworms, the composting, and all these things, we thought that we should, if this process has to continue, this process has to be converted into a product. Unless this process, what is happening in the field is converted into a product, these actions cannot continue. Because the farmers who are taking up this action, like using microbes instead of chemical fertilizers, or using an earthworm instead of chemical fertilizers, or using some associated biodiversity like honeybees or insects for control of pest or disease, has to be recognized by the consumer, and the consumer has to support this their behavior. This can happen only when all these activities are being transformed into a product. So we thought of this thing, and now we have made whatever the activities that is being carried out in the field by the farmers that are sustainable. That means they are utilizing a biodiversity, they are utilizing earthworm compost, and they are minimizing the chemical pesticide. These are all captured in a real time using, thanks to tremendous growth in information technology. Now we are able to catch what is happening in the field in a real time, and transferring all these data to putting up all this data to the consumer. So the consumer gets satisfied that these are all, that is what they expect is being happening in the field. So once the consumers are convinced, these are all the things that the farmers are doing it, then that there may be a change in the behavior among the consumer to support these types of products. So now if you see for an example, since I'm concentrating only on chili, I'll talk about chili. You'll be seeing a chili in the market. But you don't know whether it is a climate smart chili. That means whether this chili is produced utilizing a lesser amount of water, utilizing a lesser amount of fossil fuel, and responsibly using the land, and they're using some increasing the biodiversity. So we don't know whether this chili has done all these things, or we may get in a chili from a market that may be irresponsibly using a power. Take it for an example, you compare the rainfed region with the irrigated region. So you don't have differentiation between the rainfed or irrigated region, because there is a clear market advantage for a chili that is grown in an irrigated region over the chili that is cultivated in a dryland region.
ఇక్కడ வருது வரும் கொடுத்தா வராது.
Okay, so once you know the understand the difference, you can feel what the climate smartness means. Because in case of irrigated region, the farmers are at freedom to use the power. They get a free power. So just because of a free power, they are able to address the limiting factors easily, because the agriculture is all about addressing your limiting factors in your production. So that is a science based. So it is a mathematical formula you can say. So you find out whatever the limitations in your farmland that is limiting your productivity. You just give those limitations. One is then first you doing a soil test analysis or irrigation water analysis, then the resource auditing, everything will be doing. So once you find out that your water is being limited, what we do is that we either we dig a bore or we'll use a irrigation water from a channel, from a dam irrigated or anything. Advantages for the farmers with the irrigated field is that they get a free power. This free power is run through a fossil fuel dependent energy. Whenever you say that you have an electric motor driven powered farming, you mean that you are dependent more on fossil fuel. So once the farmer gets a free powered water, he has a lot of freedom to go for a chemical fertilizer application. So he goes for each and every fertilizer application, he is going for a chemical fertilizer application of urea, DAP or complex, so that the crop starts responding, because he is addressing limiting factors through a chemically derived nutrient. So what happens is the yielding gets increased. So these farmers gets a yield higher than the farmers who are growing the same crop in a rainfed region. But when it comes to the market, the farmer who is cultivating in with a free power or a luxurious use of chemical fertilizer, that too under subsidized, he gets a larger per acre yield. He may, for instance, if you compare yield from a Guntur tract, where they are getting a water supply from a Krishna river, and compare it with Virudhunagar, where and Ramnad state, we don't have that much of water luxury water supply, or we don't have that much of luxury use of chemical fertilizer. So the yield comparison, there the yield will be around minimal. They are harvesting around 24, 25 quintals, and some are even reaping around 30 quintals. But when you come to dry tracts of Ramnad or in Virudhunagar or in Tuticorin state, you could see only average production is around 8 to 10 quintal. You have a shortfall of around 12 quintals. That's a huge. So, but when it comes to the market, you have to have the same price for whether it is grown in a irrigated or whether it's grown in a dry land. You are going to have the same price. So what happens is that the dryland farmers who are getting this yield of 8 quintals will have a least amount of revenue. With that revenue, they have to run the entire 1 year life process. So it brings an inequality even among the farmers. So how to address these things? These things can be addressed by inequalities can be addressed if you take into consideration of climate smart farming, and if consumers are started to reward to a farmer who has taken up the pain to address the overall problem that is spreading over the head. So here comes the climate smart food. So how to grow a climate smart food and how to pitch it, and how this climate smart food, if it could address the challenges that is being faced by today's world. So This is the way how we progress, and we concentrate on this is a chili that is cultivated in this region. We call it as a samba, and that is a unique GI unique of Tamil Nadu region, and this chili.
மீனாட்சிபுரம்ங்கிற கிராமத்துல விவசாயம் பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கேன். இந்த ஆறுகள் வந்து இந்த வட்டம் மிளகாய் போட்டதுல வந்து சொட்டு நீர் பாசனத்தின் மூலமாக விவசாயம் செய்ததுனால எனக்கு வந்து தண்ணீர் சிக்கனம், கலை மேலாண்மையில வந்து நிறைய செலவுகள் எனக்கு குறைவாக இருக்கு. அதே மாதிரி ஆர்கானிக் மூலமா பண்ணதுனால எனக்கு வந்து செலவு கம்மியா போச்சு. நான் ஆர்கானிக் மூலமா தான் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன். இருந்தாலும் மார்க்கெட்ல அந்த விழிப்புணர்வு எல்லாரையும் திருப்தியான ஒரு உற்பத்தி போன்ற ஒரு மனநிலை இருக்கு.
The thing is, the farmers are ready to adopt the climate smart practices, whatever we give from the laboratory and to the farm. Farmers are ready to adapt it. But one of the problem is that the consumer also has to reward those farmers. So this is the mechanism that it has to evolve. I think that in coming days it is going to evolve, and there will be a larger awakening among the consumer, so that these climate smart activities are being taken up in a larger scale. So we undertake the trainings, and we are giving trainings, and more than 2,000 trainings. 2,000 farmers have attended training in our farm, and we have skilled students from various agriculture colleges and from engineering colleges. They used to visit our laboratory and take up what we are doing, and they are even participating in and sharing their idea and putting up some of the innovations here. And we have a small laboratory and to support the students who wanted to utilize those space. And talking about this form where we have put up, you can Google and find it out. This is the climate smart form that we have. So in this climate smart form, we are doing a dry land agro system, and we are practicing what we are preaching to farmers. So once the farmers visit this place and understand what we are doing and how our economy is generated, how we are able to give employment to nearly about 30 peoples who are all dependent on this farmland. Even though it is in a dry land agro ecosystem, and so this model can be emulated, and it can be done across various zones. So this what we are doing is in our Virudhunagar district, and what we can do is all of them. So when it talk about overall history of human civilization journey, you can see that 10,000 years back there was no fossil fuel energy or anything, and we are all dependent on somatic energy for our own production. Either you have to hunt and you have to spend your own somatic energy to get your food. So after industrial revolution by 1750, I think so, when the steam engine came and coal were all mined and all these things, we were able to produce so much of 1,000 million tons of oil equivalents of energy. That was under 1750. But now you see, we have now so much of oil equivalent we need, world needs. But correspondingly, we also find that population is also increasing from 0.15 crore to now the population has grown up to 780 crore. But one thing you have to understand that the same acreage is under the land, 51 crore square kilometer, now also 51 crore square kilometer, 51 crore square kilometer is the land area that is available for humanity. But the population has increased. This much of population is increased. One of the reason is so much of energy we have utilized. So once you start utilizing energy, you are able to address your limitations easily. Since you are not depending only on your somatic energy, you are depending on exosomatic energy, that is the energy that is derived from externally from us. So we are able to, human is able to increase their population. So now I'm just going to give some hard basic data, fact, not a data, fact, so that you can understand what we need to do and how a cross exchange between the various technocrats in the field can help taking up the challenges that we face. Earlier, there was an understanding among the people. They believed that the plants were eating the soil. Even now, we all glorify soil. We want to glorify the soil, but for a different reason. Because now we know that the plants don't eat the soil, but they take up only the nutrients from the soil. That's a scientific advancement. Earlier, people were thinking that the soils were eating the soil. So this myth was broken earlier in 1648. It's around 300 or 400 years ago. It was the first experiment that was done to disprove that the plants don't eat soil. Then they formed a nutrient theory. So this made a lot of change in the way how agriculture has to be performed. So then came up the Liebig. So this is the limiting factor. This law gave a lot of understanding how this agriculture has to progress and how this agriculture can be taken forward to feed a growing population. So one of the things that Liebig made was that the plants take up the nutrient, but the nutrient that is in the least level is going to decide our productivity. So that's a very good observation made by him. So if you have the one thing that any farmer has to identify is that which is the limitation in his farmland to achieve the productivity. Either it may be water, either it may be nutrient, either it may be skill set, either it may be power, or either it may be biodiversity. All the things it has to be audited and it has to be observed keenly, and you have to develop the skills to bring those limiting factors to his field. Then only the productivity will increase. Even if there are some nutrients that are in a very minute quantity, it may be needed. Even if it is not available in the soil, you may not get the productivity. Now the challenge is how to bring those limiting factor. So to bring a limiting factor, you need an energy system. Without energy, you can't bring any limitations to your field. So earlier, to address this limiting factor, we were using slaves. They were using the slave energy, or somatic energy, to bring a phosphorus from some of the islands situated in the ocean. From there, they will collect the phosphorus source that was deposited from Guyana and then bring it to their farmland. Then the chemical process came. They synthesized the nutrient. Then they brought it into farmland. Alexa, now the more understanding has happened to address those limiting factors and all these things. So if you are very much interested in to start practicing climate smart farming, your thing starts from the basic thing is to do an resource audit, but to find the limiting factors. That may be in the soil nutrient or in the water or in the biodiversity or in the list is endless. What happens now is that everybody does this report is being provided by the free of cost. I think they charge only 50 rupees per analysis by the government of India, and the Tamil Nadu government also does it. The problem is that the farmers who get access to these cards are not able to analyze, interpret what it means, because it shows only numbers. For a farmers, it doesn't show any meaning. So, if a farmer So a farmer who is not able to analyze the plant analytical report and all these things, they do practices that also comes in a lot of fossil fuel. They for to address those limiting factors, they have the freedom to choose climate smart operations, or they can go for a energy intensive or a fossil fuel intensive operations. But the farmers don't have the skill set to adopt for a climate smart farming, because we are all our farmers are stopped the learning process, and most of them have crossed the age above 50. So it becomes difficult for them to understand the concept how this energy smartness can be brought into your farmland by depending on the biodiversity or by natural resources. So if the farmers are ready and the farmers are taught, they can make a huge change. And if the farmers are willing to transform, it is the consumer's responsibility to respect it and support it. Because the agriculture is the, if you see, %70 is for agriculture purpose. Even the water pollution is eutrophication, mostly due to agriculture. And biodiversity, the loss of biodiversity is also attributed to agriculture. So these are all the challenges that we have. So just because of this, now what we face is that since the farmers are not able to address the limiting factors, most of the half of the world's agricultural land, which is already degraded, could not be brought into cultivation. What we are showing here in our farmland is that we have the entire farmland was a degraded farmland. Now we have brought it into cultivation, and now we are able to generate an economy out of it. So what we need is to practice this type of farming and encourage this type of farming. So if India has a larger goal of achieving a net zero emission. So we have all the tools already enrolled to get a net zero emission. But we see that most of the emissions are from farming. So if our food habits change, we can also do a larger role in it. So these are all the regions where we have most of our greenhouse emissions. You have emissions from electricity and manufacturing sector and farm sector. The only way to address all these emissions is only through farmland. India has a massive farmland, and all these emissions can be addressed through carbon sequestration using a farmland, and it will be a win-win situation. These are all the regions how this emissions be happening in the farm. So one of the solutions that now everybody is talking about is going for an integrated agroforestry system. where you'll be having a diversified food production process. You won't be having a monoculture. And how to move away, and how the technology has to support Indian agriculture largest scale in this segment. Because in India, the most of the emission is through enterobacter, that is through the digestion, anaerobic digestion that is happening in the ruminants. So how the technology is going to address? So for all this thing, problem that we face due to emission can be addressed only through land. So India has the most arable land, and if our practices or habits change, and it's being rewarded by and it is equally rewarded by the consumer, then we can effectively do the climate actions from the field. So what we do is that this is a simple process in a nutshell, how you can go up and how we are emphasizing the farmers to practice these things. You have to keep your soil covered. You don't do n number of tractor operation. Whenever you run a tractor operations, you are pumping in carbon dioxide, and also you are pumping out the carbon that is already been stored in your soil. So we have increased the number of tractor operations in the field, or carbon content in the soil also get eradicated. It gets reduced. The soil carbon plays a major role in plant health. So we need to maintain a maintain the living root around throughout the year. You need to fix the carbon around the soil. So if you have the soil in and around, carbon is increased in your soil. Instead of tractor doing the tilling operation, you can see toad, frog, or centipedes and earthworms doing the same operations 24/7 and 365 days. We can also, by integrating the livestock, you can in our food system, we can have a diversified food production from a single land area. Then we have to go for a crop diversity in other land of general. So at present, what we are doing, so these are so now earlier we were thinking that we should concentrate only on the cattle, and earlier we are having something around 40 animals in our shed, and we are and now we are focusing much more on goats. The reason is goats are much more environment friendly than compared to cow, in terms of emission, in terms of methane generation, and in terms of water usage. We see the amount of carbon dioxide that is emitted per kilogram of goat is around 25 kg, whereas from case of beef it is 45 kg. The amount of water that is consumed per kilogram of meat production, that is a protein production. That's what we say, it's a protein production. So this is a farmland. These are dry. This is one area of a farmland that's been shown. These trees you can see, and you can see a lot of weeds and all these things. These are all being grazed by the animals. These are all under a natural ecosystem. All this greenery is possible only because we have added carbon to the soil. Then having how to integrate biodiversity, then technology. Technology plays now a crucial role and a huge role. With sensors and meteorological development and real-time data and network connectivity has brought a larger change in the way the farming is being now carried out. So it's also able to what would say reduce the gap between the farmers and the field operations. So now the technology, through the technology, whatever that is being happening in this field can be monitored through a sensor and is being sent to satellite, and from the satellite it's been downloaded to some other place, and from there it can get the information directly to the farmer's mobile, and all. It's all really happening now. Then use of solar energy wherever you possible. We have to move away from what would say the pre-powered electric motors to solar-powered systems, so that you can save emissions. So this is.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Your slides are not coming, sir. Can you stop share and share again, sir, please? Thank you.
Okay. Is it shared, sir?
Yes, now it is visible for me. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
So this is the form that we keep it as a climate smart form, and it is being visited by the farmers to understand what we are talking about. Because seeing is believing, and so once you visit and find it out how it is happening, the farmers get convinced and they practice it. So this biomass you see, the amount of biomass, this is from a discarded and a degraded land. We are able to generate the biomass. This is all happening because we have added the carbon into this soil. Once we started enriching the carbon, we are able to get this biomass. Once this biomass grown, it is being taken by the cattle. So when these cattle generate the proteins. So this is a year-round process. So in terms of even in the integrated farming, what we are now advising is farmers to adapt breeds that are efficient in conversion of meat, the biomass to meat conversion ratio. This is one of the breed that is a local breed that efficiently converts the locally available biomass. You see what we have tied up is a dry fodder. We have the mostly the dry fodder is available in dry track. So we have the dry fodder and we give it to both the goats and the cattle here for 365 days. So these animals, then they give out the manure that is being then enriched to the soil, so that soil gets transformed. Once the soil gets transformed, it is able to absorb more amount, retain more amount of moisture. So one of the drawback in the dry land agriculture is that it may be raining today. The farmer has to take up the sowing immediately because the moisture will lose and they don't have the sophistication to irrigate the field. So they'll be planting the seeds. Once they see the monsoon starts and the rain commences, they'll start planting the seeds. Mostly they'll be sowing millets or a sorghum or a cotton or something dry agriculture. So due to climate change, what happens is that now there's a spell between the one rain to another rain gets extended. If a farmer puts up a seed in a dry land, he has to get another rain within 4 or 5 days. He doesn't have any sophistication to irrigate the field. So what happens is that the field is not able to retain the moisture content. What happens is the seed gets withered. Then again the farmer has to undertake the re-sowing in a dry land farming. So even for taking a re-sowing, he has to do another plowing, and he has to buy the seeds. So it all increases his cost of cultivation. Why this happens is because of a climate change. How to overcome it is only through enriching your soil through a carbon. That is what we are doing it. Here you are cultivating dry fodder, and we are giving it to cattle. And cattle gives out the manure. These manures are given to our earthworms, and from the earthworms it is being harvested, the vermicompost or given to the soil. Once it is applied to once you increase the carbon content in the soil, what happens is that it can retain the moisture much better than earlier time. So since now we have enriched all our land with the carbon, what happens is that earlier the plant used to wither within 3 days. Now we are able to withstand up to 6 days, 5 or 6 days. So that makes a huge difference, because the farmer doesn't want to need not go for a resowing, need not incur extra expenditure. And the water is better utilized here. The rainwater is better utilized, because you are through each and every rain, your crop establishment is increasing trend. You need not to start from the initial thing. So this is the way that we do it. So now we are integrating some of the sensors. So to document what we are doing, to replicate in other area, we need a sensor and real-time assessment of key data like moisture or organic carbon or biodiversity. Because once you have an increased organic carbon, you can have an increased moisture. Once you have an increased moisture, you have increased biodiversity in your soil. So I think I'll stop here. Then we can put up some questions or something. Then I can take you to a farm. I'll show what's happening.
So thank you very much for the session, sir. We will have Mr. Manoj Kumar asking you a question. Manoj, you may please unmute and ask a question, Manoj.
Yeah, yes, sir. Thank you for sharing all this information, sir. This is indeed a positive thing. Sir, I have two questions. The first thing is, can you repeat the yield? You're telling that in the rain-fed it was this much of quintal per acre. Then now it is. Can you repeat that? Then I will ask you the second question, sir. Thank you, sir. Please.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's possible. It is happening because in the land that I have chosen, earlier there was no production, no productivity, and there was no employment creation, and because there was no cropping, it was not feasible. Found that it was not feasible to do agriculture. In that scenario, we have a huge amount of land that's lying idle across India. Yeah, so you can find whenever you are traveling in down south, you can find a number of lands are idle and without any cultivation. And why this happening? So these areas can start from a zero. So whatever the production comes up, it is a gain for those area. One thing is that we have to recognize, and the government also has to recognize, and the policy has to also recognize that this area, that this region, which was not under the radar of production, has now come under the radar of come under production, just because they are skillfully utilizing the natural resource and biodiversity. That's the thing. One thing. Then the question that you are asking, relevant question, what about the yield and all? Is there any gain? Yes, it's definitely it is an what I would say, it is that definitely increases the livelihood option of a farm. I don't want to go in detail about a yield-centric farming approach because what I see, we are wasting so much of food when you can take into consideration of a food waste. If we could have a system that could minimize the waste, the yield that we are getting is more than sufficient. Is more than sufficient. We are not in a place that we have to think about yield. We are now in a phase where we may soon end in a place where we may not, we may lose the farmlands that are not under production and are now giving the food. So that's a thought process that we need to have rather than focusing much on yield. Because why I'm not focusing on yield means, even if a farmer is getting higher yield, farmers are not getting a better revenue. That is what we see now. One side we see that the farmland value is getting degraded and it's not becoming sustainable. Even if the yield is increasing, it's not sustainable. So we need to have a rethink how we need to progress if you want to progress. So though yield may be a criteria, immediate criteria, but for a long-term plan, yield may not be a criteria. We have other options, and by bringing the land that was already under without any use or under degraded, by bringing those lands into cultivation, I think we can have a increased productivity without using much of fossil fuel energy.
Thank you, sir. I completely agree with you on the point of food waste and all. Second, sir, I work for a spices company, and I'm like in the red chili, we are struggling a lot, in terms of input cost, pest infestation, and all. Sir, one thing I wanted to ask, like, is it possible to grow the red chilies under the natural farming 100%? Or I think you are doing that in the same way. Can you share something on this? That is my second question, sir. Thank you.
It is being practiced here. It is doable. It can be mimicked. But the one thing that I just want to put up is that since the consumer is not rewarding, that is the word I just wanted to put up. Consumer doesn't reward, or consumer could not differentiate what is climate smart or what is from another one that is energy intensive and which is using a lot of pesticides or chemicals to stop the insects or a disease and to have a yield centric or higher yield driven models. So I am into chili trade for the country. I am watching the chili market and I'm into with the chili farmers continuously for the past 12 years. I'm much more focused on chili. So I'm seeing the market dynamics and also. So from it, I'm saying that chili spices are the area where we can start our journey rather than trying it out in some cereals or in pulses or on oilseed crops. Because spice is a value crop. It's a value crop. It is not a much needed crop for taking your dietic somatic energy need. Spices are, if I permit you to use a word, or a luxury item, what I would say is considered as a luxury item. So just because of a spice exclusiveness, we were slave. We were slave. So spice has the ability to transform behavioral change, or in a society it can make a huge impact because it is mostly it adds a value to the food, and so hence we can make a larger amount of experimental which we need today's world. Unless we experiment and we carry out these things in spices or in a flavoring segment or in high-ended crops, we may not replicate in we cannot replicate, or we don't have any space to implement in food crops like paddy or in cereals or in millets. So we have a space in as well as spices. We were doing, the one problem is that we get a reduced yield. So once you get a reduced yield, that the without compromising on other aspect, you say the farmer gets a reduced yield, but he has not compromised on the emission norms or on food safety norms, or not used any chemical pesticide. But it has to be rewarded by the consumer. No? So the technology now we have with the IT tools and all these things, this gap is now getting reduced. Now the consumers are able to see, oh, this chili is sustainably grown, and this chili, these farmers are cultivating in a more in a manner that I was dreaming, or I just wanted to give a support and all these things. So these things will bring the change. Pest, whether it is in a chemically formed or whether it is in organically formed, pest will come. We cannot evade a pest. But how you come across the pest and how the marketplace, how the consumer interacts, and all makes a huge difference.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, in the previous slide, there was one number mentioned, 77100. Is it your number, sir? Sir,
So you're muted, sir.
My number is 70.
yeah, 70
100
1
00
yeah.
432
Yes, sir.
67.
Thank you very much, sir. I will look forward to speak to you. My name is Manoj Kumar from Bangalore. Thank you, sir, for your knowledge, your experience sharing everything, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, participants, you may please unmute and ask your questions, please.
Can I ask, please?
Yeah, please go on, Kanabira.
Yeah, very good morning to everyone, and especially the guest speaker. It was really an interesting, very educative and enlightening presentation by Dr. Palaneeswar Rajarathinam. Very, very interesting. Even though I'm not from the agricultural background, I am a technocrat from the electronics, communication, and IT background. Very, very interesting to hear from Mr. Rajarathinam. My first question is how effectively the new energy or the non-conventional energy like windmills, solar energy, those technologies are adapted or used in place of fossil fuel in Tamil Nadu, especially in your smart agriculture, your climate smart agriculture.
Yes, sir. One thing is that in some of the farms that some of the corporate farms we are serving, they have put up everything under solar. They are using solar powered water source under drip irrigation. So that means that they are one step ahead in addressing the emission norms.
Okay.
So even in Tamil Nadu or in India, we have a huge data about how many farms are with the solar power.
Okay. Okay.
So, but we the problem is that we don't differentiate those products that's coming from the solar powered farms into the market.
Okay.
You don't have the
We don't have the specific data.
Yes, yeah. But if systems are now evolving and you can have a traceability and all these things, if these things are being asked by the consumer, then the market will reflect.
Okay.
So I understand that you are much keen that you are everybody understand that they wanted to move to electric vehicle, or they wanted to put up a solar,
Absolutely.
and they wanted to shift away from bulbs to LED and all. We are all doing whatever means that we want to do within our means. And we are also doing some hobby gardening in our backyard and all this thing. So as an independently, every consumer is associated with the environment and do some corrective actions.
Right.
But the market has to reflect on this. The problem is that
What
market has
about
to.
the tractors which are used, the diesel-based tractors? In place of that, any EV tractors have come or anything of that sort for?
Even in the place of tractors that were using a huge amount of fossil fuel, now they are going for a small hand-operated tools, or something like the power that is required will be minimized. Something
Right.
like earlier you will be using mostly they'll be using 45 HP and above. Now even 20 HP is being operated. So that will bring some sort of efficiency there.
Some sort of efficiency and
Some of the tools
reduction of
are being
using poisonous waste.
yes, sir, definitely. These are all one step ahead now. These are all the corrective action that can happen. That can happen. Another way the pumps are being used, and how you move away the efficiency, how it is being monitored. Since now we don't have any metering system and it is quantified and is available in the public, it is difficult to say how to bring an efficiency in a farm operation, all the same. But we are doing it here. Here we record all the energy system that is being using, what is the amount of diesel that we are consuming. That is our yardstick. So earlier last year we were using so much of diesel. This year our goal has to reduce the amount of diesel that we have to use consuming, and we have to have a productivity
that can reduce the carbon emission as well as the fossil fuel utilization.
Yes, definitely.
What is the support you get from Government of India and the state government with regard to the climate change and also the environmental protection? Like using all these EV vehicles or solar-powered non-conventional energy resources. So do you get any support mainly to the farmers and the people who are in the farming community?
Yes, farmers are getting under subsidized solar powered water pump, but it's a very minimal. But only support the farmers now are getting is that we should agree that they're doing a lot on drip irrigation system and all this thing. Government is investing huge on saving the water. But there also we have a problem. We don't interpret our limiting factors. That's what I'm saying. We all know that most of the soil irrigation water has a salt in it.
Yeah.
So when we lay out the drip system across the farm field, farmers' mentality is that they remove those drip lines. They just keep only the pipeline. So the reason is that we are not teaching them how to remove the salts.
Right. Very right.
How to overcome the salt.
Yeah.
So these are the key skills that has to be important. Further, we have we operate in isolation. Engineers will be operating on isolation. The agriculture agronomists will be operating in another isolation. The market people are operating in another isolation. So this cannot be. But the food is a common. No? So everybody has to have a cross-functional. They have to share their thing and do. Then only it can change.
Yeah, I agree. Only thing, you're doing it from your side, you have been doing all these training programs and educating those farmers and the consumers and the people who are in the farming field or from the farming community. But my only question is, what is the role of the central government and the state government in terms of creating awareness, educating them, bringing all the stakeholders together and proper coordination, synchronization, and integration of all their different activities together, and have a consolidated, approach to address the climate change, environmental protection, and also increase in productivity of the food production.
Yes,
So
it
that's
has to
nice.
happen. Yes, it has to happen. But the mindset, I don't have opportunity to interact in the budget session earlier
Yeah.
when we are
Because
forming
you're
the.
definitely, hats off to you. I mean, we salute you for your role in providing training and also educating, creating awareness amongst these farmers and the farming community, people in the same community. Only thing is there should be some responsibility and the role of the government of India and the state government also to ensure that, since we are also talking about the climate change and addressing the climate change and also environmental protection, increasing, I mean, the food security is another big issue which you have mentioned in your presentation, that in the next 25 years, there will be a reduction of productivity and also there will be a shortage of food. This is definitely, you're absolutely right. But there should be some response and responsibility shown by the government of India and also the Tamil Nadu government. So that's why I asked you this question.
Yes, they
Can
they
I
are.
ask you one more question, please, if you don't mind?
Yes.
Yeah, this is, I'm asking you about the application of the mobile-based apps, these days, like IoT and artificial intelligence-based, a lot of things have come up in the agriculture field. Do you have any such application like mobile-based app for climate smart agriculture? And also you're getting connected to the farmers and consumers, to educate them and to provide them guidance in the farming, climate smart agriculture farming.
Uh, this is a tricky question because I am not from the IT domain.
Okay.
But I am utilizing the benefit out of IT. But I see that IT can, because ultimately the information can only bring the energy efficiency. I strongly believe only
Yeah.
through information flow there is going to be an energy efficiency. But
Yeah.
the problem, what I face in the field is that
Yeah.
there's a disconnect. I
Okay.
was working along with some of the IT companies and I was giving some advisory on this. I was working in some of the platforms and all this thing.
Okay.
But I could sense there is some disconnect what is happening in the field and what is being projected in the public.
Okay. Yeah. And the next question is, what is the role of the government of India and the state government in terms of, creating these apps and also providing them the necessary IT infrastructure and also the AI, which is now an upcoming field, IoT and AI. Why can't the government of India or the state government get involved with the entrepreneurs or the industrialists like you and take advantage of providing these facilities to the farmers and the farming community, one to improve the productivity, two, environmental protection, third, addressing the climate change.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but you don't get any support from the government of India or the state government?
No. I'm not saying like that the government of India is not doing anything. The government is
Okay.
doing things. One of the things that I would say, you might have known about cadastral mapping and how the government is keen on mapping all the field data into a digital system. But
Right.
but the society won't accept it immediately. There are things that has to be slowly because it breaches one's freedom and all the things. It will be slowly evolving. It is slowly evolving. With information technology in a boom and amount of data that we can store and the AI and all, I think we have a better tools now. Only one thing is the implementation. For implementation, we need a behavioral change. Technology, there may be some technology that is available, but we need people to integrate those technology into operation. That has to be there. So I think there are some happenings or taking place now. For instance, I would also question who is a farmer. I raised some of the platform and all these things. Who is a farmer? How do you define a farmer? So my answer was that one who possesses the skill to have to support or enhance the food production should be considered as a farmer, and he has been recognized as a professional involved in it. Because I am not considered as a farmer, because I am not considered as a farmer. Now I am considered as a farmer because I own the land. So here in our that is our behavioral mindset. No, if you are owning a land, you become a farmer. But the land owner may not be participating in any of the agriculture process, any of the decision making, anything. But he will be owning a farmland. You don't call a hospital owner or who constructed a hospital as a doctor. We consider only the people who have the skill as a doctor. So here there should be we need to difference between asset or something like that from a skill set. So but these are all being debated. I think these questions are raised in the parliament and it's all under discussion, and it will happen, because now it is very, when we talk
actually,
about
I'm from a government of India enterprise from New Delhi. Actually, I served about 30 years in the government of India there in Delhi under the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. In fact, I was heading the government of India enterprise, and then I moved to Chennai now. So I have been working closely with government of India and most of the state governments. So that's why I was just curious to know, because these are the very essential things. Now I know I have attended a few conferences on this AI-based, IoT-based technology oriented startup companies who are into drones, who are also using drones for sprinkling waters and water, and also sprinkling the fertilizers in the field. Uniformly, it spreads through the that I think how much our state, Tamil Nadu, is now using those technologies, how it is being improved. In other states, some of the states in North India and West India, I have seen people are using the smart technologies and using IoT and AI-based, even the drone applications. So, of course, I would request you personally, I can talk to you later, and we can also see how best, we can collaborate and, take things forward. Only thing is, with this thing, you can also, interact with those companies, who are also providing on lease basis, on not, you need not really buy those things, the infrastructure of the entire thing. You can also have it on a lease basis, on a rental basis. I think these startup companies are doing a pretty good job. So I would request you to find out, explore, and let's try to, bring in our state as one of the leading states in the, your concept of climate smart agriculture. You're doing a wonderful job. So that will enable you to further increase the food production, help the farmers and the farming community. So thanks a lot. Thanks for your precious time. A wonderful presentation by you. And we really appreciate and thank you for your precious time and enlightening all of us. So kind of you, sir. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Thank you to the organizers of AABN. Thank you.
So one question from my side. Do you have energy management in your farm?
energy
And if
management.
yes, what is the effect? How much is it effectively used? What is the percentage of
it is only in my minds, and I just make a jot, and I'll take a last year EB reading, and last year how much of diesel that is consumed here, and I translate into how much of output we are taking this year. Then this way I'm working. It is not, and now I just wanted to make it and recorded, and statistically I just wanted to make it so that we can put it in a concrete manner. We have one farm, it's a corporate farm in Ramnad. There we are implementing, because it is solar operated, we have all the data, so how much of water is pumped out and how much of things, because these things have now become easier. it automatically records how much of water is pumped out, how much of energy is being consumed and all. It is already in the data is available. So with this data, we can add value to the thing. So it is possible, but as far as now, in my form at Kuluchandai, I just do it in a manual form. I just go into the meter, I'll record the meter. And I don't use the free power. I use only diesel motor. That too, since I have a cattle, so I'm using the diesel. I don't use a bore water. I use the open well. It makes some sense for me, because I don't go for a stored water. I'm just using an open well. Open well and stored water is a underground water. It also makes a huge difference. So these are all things that I take into consideration, whether we are moving energy efficient way or
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Vikram, you can ask your question, Vikram. Question posted by Mr. Vikram. How can farmers leverage climate data and technology to make informal decisions in chili cultivation, considering the dynamic nature of climate pattern?
Yes, sir. A very valid question. Nana, what I see is that we also have a farm extension support system where we are networked the farmers, and we are effectively using the WhatsApp. We form a WhatsApp group for our villages, and we transform whatever the technology that is available with us to farmers, and they are saying Reliance is doing, and everybody is doing. How this prediction or regarding weather is advanced to the farmers in earlier. One thing with the farmer is that they are also able to predict this weather conditions even without these monitors. That is our experience and over through observing wind flow, wind direction, and even some of the way monsoon setting up, they are also able to predict how this season is going to be there. That usually happens with the traditional farmers' mind. But the farmers who are in something around 25 to 35, they don't have those skills. They depend much more on a mobile information. So for them, this data, that is meteorological data, everything that is coming from a satellite has to be analyzed and given as a crisp information. Not only as an information, and as also recommended action. That should be the key thing that can bring a change. Farmers are not bothered about those data. They cannot understand what is a pH means. If you say pH, they don't understand. If you say of rainfall, they are not going to understand. What is the temperature, degree, and all these data they are not going to understand. But the immediate recommendation, what recommendation you are going to give, for in case of chili, we'll be shooting up some alert that this chili tomorrow you may expect the rain. You either you have a system so that you can cover your chili that is dried in your open field. So these type of alerts continuously coming over to a mobile system will sensitize the farmer and make them behavioral change. It is happening. Earlier, there was no farmers before mobile alerts. The farmers' behavior was different. Now, after the mobile alerts, farmers' behavior is changed. That I could say in my 32 years of experience traveling with the farmer. So we need only as an alert.
Hello?
Yeah, please
Hello.
go on. Please go on. Yeah, please go on, Mr. Yes, sir.
Sir, I am now Sundaramurthy. I am the chemical engineer. And part-time I am doing paddy agriculture I am doing in Mayiladuthurai district. So is there any way of converting this paddy fields? Till now we have not done any soil test to the cash crops like, instead of always putting paddy, then sugarcane, and now only people started putting the gingerly oil, then cotton they are putting. So if you have any information of converting, everybody is putting paddy, and government is not at all procuring paddy. There is rainy season. Then TPC, Tamil Nadu Procurement Center, people are heaping the paddy. How to change this system of only paddy means we are also fed up. Sometimes, how to sell this, where is the market, all this problem. We also want to go for gas crop. Then sugarcane also, no sugar industries in this nearby districts to take in demand. Sir, can you please suggest, sir?
So it's a good question. தமிழ்ல சொல்றப்ப இக்கரைக்கு அக்கறை பச்சைதான் சார்.
Okay.
What you are saying that you are complaining about paddy. There is no procurement for paddy. But we and the rainfed tract, we don't have any procurement system for any of the crop that we cultivate. Any of the crop, we don't have any procurement. At least for paddy, government is announcing a minimum support price and they are opening the center and they are procuring it. Here, the farmers are at the distress of market. So coming to your question regarding the changing from paddy, monocropping to a diversified cropping system. Yes, it is possible, but அதில் ஒரு சிக்கல் என்ன அப்படின்னா நம்ம பேடி ஃபீல்ட்ஸ் எல்லாமே பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இதில் இருக்கும், ஒரு இரிகேட்டட் ஏரியாவில் இருக்கும். ஒரு டெல்டா ரீஜியனில் இருந்தது அப்படின்னா யூ கான் கல்டிவேட் எனி அதர் கிராப்ஸ். உடனே இன்னண்டேட் ஆகும், சேனலில் தண்ணி வந்துக்கிட்டே இருக்கும், எப்பயுமே ஃப்ளட்டட் கண்டிஷனாக இருக்கும். So whenever you find a flooded condition, you don't have any alternative to go for any other crop other than paddy. Crop பண்ணவே முடியாது. You'll be having channels that is already that will be flowing with continuously flowing with the water. So that much of either otherwise your field will be in way back. You will not have an access to a road. You can't do any operation at your independence. What everybody has shown in the prayer area. One was access to road and all these things. They have covered with some other crop. You can't do any other. Can't take your machines to the interior region. There are some drawbacks to change over. But it is possible. Paddy field, most of the Ramnad region or in dry tract, even in my village, Kulusandai, where I'm staying. Here, earlier we used to have some around 100 to 200 acres of paddy used to come by this time. Now we don't have any paddy cultivation here. There's zero cultivation. Everybody is cultivating only cotton or maize or chili or some other crop. They are doing pulses or something like that. But I would say that paddy, we need to have we have to understand whether that is what I say as an audit, resource audit. You should do resource audit.
Sir, நான் என்ன நினைக்கிறேன்னா குருவை டாலடி போறதுக்கு பதிலா இப்ப என்ன எங்கிட்ட போர்செல் இருக்கு சார். அதனால என்ன பண்றோம்னா மார்ச் ஏப்ரல்ல நாங்க நாற்று விட்டு குருவை நட்டுருவோம். அதுக்கப்புறம் டாலடி, அப்புறமேலுக்கு அந்த டாலடியிலே பயிர் உளுந்தெல்லாம் போடுறோம். If you see the total cost, see borewell, okay, borewell is there, and then free power is there, then subsidized fertilizer, everything is there. Then அப்புறம் அந்த நடவு நடுற மெஷின் இருக்கு, அப்புறம் இந்த ஹார்வெஸ்டிங் மெஷின் எல்லாம் இருக்கு. ஓகே, இத பாத்தீங்கன்னா இந்த லேபர் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட், தென் அவைலபிலிட்டி ஆஃப் மேன் பவர், ஸ்கில்டு மேன் பவர், டிரைவர், இது அதெல்லாம் பாத்தீங்கன்னா டிராக்டர் ஓட்டுறதுக்கு everything we have to depend upon. So now we are thinking of going down to only one crop. அதாவது சம்பான்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. சம்பா உளுந்து பயிர் போட்டா என்ன சார் ஆகும்? இந்த வெதர் ஃபுட் ப்ரொடக்ஷன் will come down. குருவே போடலன்னு வச்சுக்க நாங்களே, என்ன சார் ஆகும்? Because of manpower shortage, because of difficulties of doing agriculture, because see landowners are all, we are all facing the same problem, Then இந்த மாதிரி திடீர்னு மழை பெஞ்சிடுது, வெள்ளம் வந்துடுது, இந்த மாதிரி போயிடுதுன்னு வச்சுங்களேன், அந்த இன்சூரன்ஸ் எல்லாம் கொடுக்குறாங்க. ஓகே, அதெல்லாம் இன்சூரன்ஸுக்கு எல்லாம் போய் நிக்கணும். நீங்க அவன்கிட்ட யாரு வில்லேஜ் முனிசிபல் அவன்கிட்ட போய் நிக்கணும். அவன்கிட்ட வந்து எல்லா டீடைல்ஸ் கொடுக்கணும், அதெல்லாம் நடந்துட்டு இருக்கு. அதனால ஒரே கிராப் பேடி போட்டு நாங்க வந்து உளுந்து பயிர் போடுறோம். அப்படிதான் நான் வந்து டிசைட் பண்ணிட்டேன். அப்ப குருவைனா டைரக்ட்லி சம்பா பயிறு உளுந்து பயிறு அவ்வளவுதான். ஓகேவா?
இந்த ப்ராப்ளம் என்ன சார், இதுல வந்து ஒண்ணும் இல்லை சார். நம்ம யார் இதை எல்லாத்தையும் கடைசி கொடுக்கணும் அப்படின்னா, இன்னைக்கு நம்ம பேசணும், நமக்கு பிரைசிங் வந்து இதாகல அப்படின்னா, it is not a problem of a grower's problem, it is a problem of a consumer. கன்சியூமர் வந்து இந்த ப்ராடக்ட்டுக்கு இதுதான் பிரைஸ் அப்படிங்கிறத அக்செப்ட் பண்ற மாதிரியான ஒரு சிஸ்டம் இல்லை. ஏன் அப்படின்னா, we have a minimum support price அப்படின்னு ஒன்று வந்துடும், மார்க்கெட் இன்டர்வென்ஷன் ஒன்று. இது எல்லாமே இருக்கிறப்ப நம்மளால வந்து நீங்க இந்த சிஸ்டத்தை பிரேக் பண்ணிட்டு வர்றது, டேட்டாஸும் ஏஐயும் வர வர இந்த ஏரியால நீங்க கல்டிவேட் பண்ண வேண்டாம்னு இனிமேல் ஒரு வரலாம். I'm not saying it may come. We have already grown paddy for this year's season. Why you go for a cultivation? You don't go for a cultivating paddy. You go for an alternate crop. For that alternate crop, we'll be paying government will be paying a remunerative price. இது மற்ற கண்ட்ரீஸ்ல இருக்கு அப்படின்ட்டு சொன்னாங்க. ஏன்னா மற்ற கண்ட்ரீஸ்ல நீங்க எக்ஸஸ் ப்ரொடக்ஷன் போக வேணாம் அப்படிங்கிறப்ப they will not support the cultivation. இப்ப ஒண்ணும் இல்லை சார். இப்ப நீங்க இப்ப சொன்னீங்க போர் இருக்கு அப்படின்னு. போர் இருக்கு, நான் இது பண்றேன் பேடி கல்டிவேஷன். போர் இருக்கிற ஏரியால எதுக்கு பேடி?
ஏன்னா அது வந்து நீங்க சொன்ன மாதிரி லோ லைங் ஏரியா, சேனல் எல்லாம் வந்து ஃபார்ம் ஆகி மழை பெஞ்சா கூட தண்ணி எல்லாம் வடியாது, தண்ணி நிற்கும். அப்படிங்கிறதாலதான் வந்து போர்வெல் இருந்தா கூட பாடி மட்டும் தான் போடுற மாதிரி இருக்கு. பேடி இல்லைன்னா சுகர் கேன் அப்படிதான்.
அப்படி சொல்லுது. நான் வந்து சொல்றது வந்து ஒரு லார்ஜர் பெர்ஸ்பெக்டிவ்ல பேசுறேன். ஒரு ஏரியா வந்து எப்பயுமே ரெயின்ல வந்து இனண்டேட்டட் ரீஜனா இருக்கு, எப்பயுமே தண்ணி வந்து அங்க இடத்துல நிற்கும். அப்படிங்கிறப்ப பேஸ்ட் ஆன் தட் ரீஜன் we are going for a crop cultivation. அந்த ஏரியாக்கு அந்த ஏரியால அதுதான் வரும் அப்படின்னா அதை அக்செப்ட் பண்ணிட்டு அதுலதான் நம்ம ஸ்பெஷலைஸ் பண்ணணுமே தவிர, இந்த ஏரியால இந்த கிராப் போட்டா நல்லா வரும், அப்ப அந்த கிராப்பை கொண்டு வர்றதுக்காக நான் வந்து என்னோட இதையே மாத்துறேன். I can bring an energy and address those limitation அப்படின்னு நம்ம கொண்டு வர்றப்பதான் ப்ராப்ளமே வர ஆரம்பிக்குது. ஒவ்வொன்றும் ஷூட்டப் இது எப்படி பிரச்சனை வர ஆரம்பிக்கும் அப்படின்னா, நான் என்ன இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் நிறைய வர we can make ஒரு சொசைட்டி வந்து நீங்க பேசுற அத்தனை ப்ராப்ளமே எவரிபடி இஸ் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங். யாருமே அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் பண்ணாம இல்ல, எல்லாருமே அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் பண்றோம், எல்லாருமே இது பண்றோம். ஆனா எப்படி அதுக்கு சொல்யூஷன் கொடுக்க போறது அப்படிங்கறதுலதான் எல்லாருக்கும் எப்படி பண்றதுன்னு தெரியும், அது எப்படி செய்யறது அப்படின்னு வரும். அது வந்து சொல்யூஷன் வராதுன்னு இல்லை, வரும். எப்பன்னா ஒரு இப்ப வந்து ஓரளவுக்கு கிராப் டேட்டா வந்துருது. இன்னைக்கு தேதிக்கு முந்தி வந்து எப்படி கிராப் டேட்டாவோட இது வந்து அந்த கிராப் ஸ்டாட்டிஸ்டிக்ஸ் எடுத்து everybody has to pull up those data. It will be a written record. It has to be justified. Then only we'll have a all India record. So much of acreage is covered. But today, we have a satellites. They are able to see how much of acreage is there. Satellites or sensors or day by day it is growing. Even with the color pattern, they are saying that what is the stage the crop is there. Change in crop pattern. Color and the chrome value how much the yield prediction is also going on. So if we have a real data, we can have an understanding this is so much of arrival. So why you need to use your resource for cultivating the same crop? You can shift up. Then the government can give a subsidy only for those crops to growing in that region. Okay. It may come. I'm not pessimistic. It may come, but it will take time. But it will take time. Only thing is நம்ம வேணா போயிடுவோம், நிலம் இங்கே தான் இருக்கும்.
ஆமா ஆமா. ஓகே சார். சார் ரொம்ப தேங்க்ஸ் சார். சார் யூ ஹவ் given a lot of information about this. But so whenever possible, wherever we require the help scientifically, engineering wise, whatever we want, we will contact you, sir. Okay sir. Okay. Okay, thanks sir. Okay.
Okay. Anyone else has a question? You may please unmute and ask last question.
Yeah. லாஸ்ட் கொஸ்டின். தேங்க்யூ கோபி.
Yeah, please, Kanabira.
சார் ரொம்ப வணக்கம் சார், மிக்க நன்றி. ஓகே, நாங்கள் எல்லாரும் அக்ரிகல்ச்சரை விட்டு வெளில வந்துட்டோம். ஓகே, இன்ஜினியர்ஸ் ஆகிட்டோம். பட் மேபி a generation back we were all basically farmers. நாங்கள் உங்களுடைய movement of this thing as a part, can we join?
Yes, sir.
Is there any possibility to join? Only thing is we may be able to not physically present for some more time. Maybe I'm 54, 55. Maybe after 2-3 years, I thought I can have my full time. But can I begin it? Is there any methods?
So welcome, sir. We need a experienced personality who have worked in regions that can understand the problem with the farmers and they can extend their support. இது எனக்கு ரொம்ப ரொம்ப தேவை. Last week I was talking to one of the East guy from pollution control. He came and visited a farm and all this thing. He extended his expertise. So these things, cross-working is needed, definitely needed, so that we can bridge the gap. So we need to do a lot to the farmers. So your experience and the thing and your way of problem solving will add more value. So this is a foundation. We have started a foundation taking into consideration to bring in all the players who are all interested into support the farming and all things. So it's an open foundation. Here we are doing, we are working on different models, how we can bring what is in lab to the land at a faster pace. So it is possible, sir. I welcome you and we can jointly do. So there's no issue.
Thank you, sir. God bless you for your noble work.
Okay.
Excuse, can I have a question, please?
Please
Can
go
I
on.
ask? Yeah, thank you. So this is regarding not farming of chili, because you are already doing and you know a lot of things. I just want to ask you whether will you be able to support in import and export of chilies? I understand India is the best and better exporter of chilies to other countries. So would you be able to help in that way?
Yes, ma'am.
To find out.
Yes, ma'am, definitely. But I must say that I'm not actually directly into chili export because I'm more associated with the farmers. I'm doing a product and we have come up with a product. It's a good fit. We are also exploring export market because whenever we talk about export, there also we find only the same type of consumer who prefers more on pricing rather than on value creation.
So in here, I just want to put a question. Since you say it is a price, this thing, what is the difference between the production method that you do and the regular? Would it be 1x, 2x?
Yeah,
so if you could tell, yes.
I would say, let us not forget about 1x or 2x or 3x. Here the farmers are using urea, that is a chemical fertilizer, you see. So it is highly subsidized by the government of India and its price is only around minimal. Including subsidy, comes around 280 per 50 kg bag, below 280, 50 kg bag. Yeah. So farmers don't have higher purchasing power. So what they do is that they come to our shop and they purchase only urea. They purchase only urea. Though we say that we have a number of nutrients and number of things that you have to provide to have a holistic food. Since their purchasing power is limited and the only thing that is available under highly subsidized is urea, farmers purchase mostly of urea. Then they go for application. So once you go for an urea application, you need irrigation. You need to irrigate immediately. Once you irrigate and you do a urea application, you have a great flushness, greenness that is going to attract your pest and disease. So you are going to have a pest and disease. Then you are going to add chemical pesticides or something like that. So this goes on a continuous chain.
Okay, when
Now
you
in this
add the
climate part,
pesticides, it would be a residual, right?
yeah, it will
Yes.
that is a residual effect. That gives a residual effect. And the farmers are not much learned about, differentiate about organophosphorus or neonicotinoid and what is safe or what is not safe and what has to be used. One of the things that is daunting our Indian agriculture, the farmers who are all into farming now, currently practicing the farming are nearing about averaging is more than 45, more than 45. So they don't have, they don't remember or they don't use to currently available molecules.
Mm.
They go by, even now, if you ask any of the farmer to spell out any of the pesticides, remember, they will instantly say Monochrotophos roga.
Mm.
That comes up from the what I would say, that is the immediate thing that they will say, Monochrotophos. And even when even in our shop, the farmers used to come and they will ask for a Monochrotophos. Even if you recommend anything other than this, this is not a safe molecule, it is impacting on our generation alone. Then they will start questioning. So they start questioning. Then they'll go for another alternative. When they go for another alternative, the cost comes up into their barrier. They'll ask, what is the cost for this product? Then we have to say, this is the cost. Then they will say, sir, this is too much of cost. What is the advantage that I am going to get out of it? So he is increasing the cost of cultivation just because we are changing the pattern. So you should not go for a urea application. You should go for some other application like vermicompost application or compost application. Then he starts questioning, sir, I'm just I'm shifting. So, but it gives me increased cost of production or increased change in operation procedure. Whether it will be, I will be rewarded for changing over. That is the immediate question that he asked. Then we give a false promise. You do it. The consumers are asking for organic. You do it. You will get a better price. Almost practice it. Just practice it. Just they believe in technocrats. The product comes to market. But when it comes into the market, he feels the reality. There is no change. There is no difference between what he does and what he is going to get in the market. So he is upset. Then again, it becomes very difficult for us to convince the same farmer for the next season. So we lose one of the farmer who is he was changed his behavior and adopted to new practices, and he was expecting that he would be rewarded. So even this same scenario is existing even in the export also, but only in some of the allied consumers who are known about all these things happenings are asking for a specific labels now. Nowadays, they are asking for a specific labels. So what I would suggest is that instead of banking on global market and all these things, we should bank on niche marketing. When I sell what is grown in my farm, my immediate consumers are only from Virudhunagar people. I don't need any third-party certification. They immediately understand that I have taken a lot of pains. They know the difference between the retail price and the market price. So what I do is that I sell them at the retail price. From my farm to them at the retail price. That is possible only in the niche market, in a local market. So this is the way that we have to do, rather than moving a product that is grown in one region to far off place and selling its value. That itself is going to pump in a lot of emission. And it also brings in a lot of problems. First is that we have convinced our people who are nearby and ask them to buy those material at the retail price directly from us.
Okay, I agree. So you're connected with a lot of FPOs. Hello?
Hello.
Hello. No, it's frozen is. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're connected with a lot of FPOs then, and Virudhunagar, the chili producers.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, great. So I may get in touch with you
Yes.
for the procurement of the chili. But I have one more question. Is there any difference between the quality of the chilies that you produce and the regular market or the regularly grown in
Madam,
terms of pungent, color, and then chili oil content?
Yeah, as far as the pungency and the color value, that is all that you can analyze with the analytical procedure and all the thing. Only immediate gain is that if you go for a residue analysis, you'll find. If you go for a residue analysis, you find this has a list of chemicals.
Okay, got it.
So most of them chilies are treated as an IPM grade, not as any other value addition. Even though we do a global gap certification, we are associated with some of the corporates doing for a global gap certification, and we do it for them. They procure the chili that is under this network. And we are now associated with some of the big seed companies and trying out, because we may have a lot of germ plasm. When you come to chili, just like a tomato, you have a varied germ plasm that is grown in the various area. Since you are in a chili trade, you know that how the color value and the pungency matters, and even the size and visibility. There are different markets as far as chili. One, you will be as for a whole market, where directly the consumer will see the visibility of the chili and they'll be buying. There also the consumption pattern varies. Some will be preferring mundu type, some preferring a long elongated type, some with a wrinkle, some with the this are. And another one is for a powdering. Some way they will be asking for a high pungency value, so that it has a high pungency and should have a high seed content and all this. So you have a different number of chili germlines are available. So the companies are finding very difficult to meet the processors requirement or the market requirement, because they may have a number of lines in their portfolio. So they just wanted to try it out, which might suit in this region, so that it can be bought in the market. So we are supporting them in conducting the agroecological trials. Some companies, they'll be giving the all their lines. We'll be evaluating those chili lines here, and we'll be recommending these chili lines or as a market potential in our region, where these processors will be taking up all its produce.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. It's an excellent session. We had a lot of wonderful takeaways from here. We look forward to be staying in touch with you.
Thank you, sir, for providing this opportunity. I just get to interact with them, some of the finest personality who also have a shared passion towards farming. Thank you so much, sir.